What do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
You might think that getting into the IT field is impossible without a computer science degree, but Tech Coach Ralph is here to prove you wrong. Get ready for some jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into this lucrative industry. Listen up, tech enthusiasts! Are you ready to break through into the IT field, but feel like you need a computer science degree to make it happen? Think again! Tech Coach Ralph has some exclusive, mind-blowing secrets to share with you. Get ready to be blown away by his jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into the tech industry without a computer science degree. So get your notepad ready, because Tech Coach Ralph is going to change your life forever. Buckle up, because you're about to embark on a journey to success in the IT field.
It's time!
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. We are in for a treat tonight. If you do not know who I am Tech Coach Ralph. We are, what are we? Remind me once again, what are we? We are engineered to win. We are all about the victory. This is Thursday night, December 7th, 2023. It is currently 7:33 p.m. on the East Coast, down here in sunny, or not so sunny this week, South Florida. Actually, the weather's been pretty cool out here, literally cool, right? In the 60s this whole entire week. But that's not what we are here to talk about tonight. We are going to be exploring Amazon Fargate through AWS, right? So I'll get into a little bit more about what that is as we get closer to that. But you know what we like to do first? We like to go through our agenda. So let me get that pulled up. All right. So first and foremost, I want to say thank you to all of the newest subscribers. You guys are amazing, and you guys have been reaching out to me as well. And I truly appreciate it. I
appreciate you.
I do appreciate you, because without you, we wouldn't be getting this message out. The more subscribers you get, the more people can see. And, it just keeps, like, I remember when I first started, when you first start trying to get people to follow whatever you're doing, it's very slow. But then as you continue to pick up, then more people see it, and then it just gets into the algorithm, the likes and all that. So I truly appreciate you guys for helping me to share about this tech stuff, and, a lot of information out there. I'm not going to say it's bad information, although it is, but I'm not going to say it's bad information, right? This can be misunderstood, misconstrued. It's sometimes not the full details that are given, or they take like anecdotal evidence and market that as a mass. So I'm just trying to bring some levity into the area to, set realistic expectations, and try to, properly help you get through the process. So that's I just want to say that I really appreciate everyone who subscribes and who reaches out to me. Like, I really appreciate those who reach out to me. And, we talk, and I find out about your background. I share with you my background, so all of that. I think that's amazing. All right. Let me try something real quick. Make sure this is working. All right, cool. That's working. So let's continue with our agenda. The other thing I want to say is shout out to the Tech Barbarians and all of my Patreon members.
I appreciate you.
You guys are truly amazing. Like, I love having conversations in the Patreon with you guys. It's, just to see like why you signed up and what you're trying to get out of it. I'm always looking to add value, and just the fact that you guys will come and support me and trust me to help you, um, and that means a lot to me. So I just wanted to share that with you. I appreciate all the Patreon members, those who sign up for free, all the way those who are the top tier. I appreciate you all, and just trying to help you guys to level up to where you want to be. All right. So with that being said, if you have not done so yet, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can know every single time that we go live. Like the video, share the video, all that good stuff. Check out the Patreon at www.techcoachralph.dev. See all the things that we have going on in there. I'm actually like, something just hit me today, right? I don't know what I was doing, but something hit me about how to continue to enhance your resumes and stuff like that. I think it's the project that I'm working on with Don that triggered that. But I am going to actually be making a Patreon video about because I already have one in there where I'm going through my resume, showing how I update it. But I'm going to make another one about like how to carefully plan what you put on your resume, because a lot of times, like I always tell you guys, it's just a checklist that you guys are having on your resume, and like all tasks of all the things that you did. And to be honest with you, it's not the most effective resume because it looks it looks just like everybody else's resume. So what I'm encouraging you to do is to show value on your resume. And in the Patreon, I'm gonna drop a video. I think I'm gonna be able to do it this weekend, right? I think I have some time this weekend, so I'm gonna create a video where I'll probably release it on Monday morning, like I normally do for the Patreon videos. But I'm going to be talking about how to carefully think through what you're putting on in your resume. All right, so that's going to be the plan. So check out the Patreon, sign up for it, and even for the free members, I put like the first 2 minutes. That's the most that Patreon allows me to give a preview of, right? So put 2 minutes. I have to go back and do that for the older videos, but all the newer videos, I'm going to make sure I give those first 2 minutes for all the people who sign up for free, and then you can make a decision from there what you want to do. But that's the idea. I always want to add value to anyone who supports me, like just by signing up. That means a lot to me. So I'm going to give you as much as I can within my limits. All right. So with that being said, let's talk about our live show schedule. So Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, we have Coffee and Kata, which are at 7:15 a.m. That is the morning show where we have a cup of coffee, right? Then we review a couple of news articles, and then we get into our coding challenges. So we've been going through the rock, paper, scissors challenge. It's been really fun. API testing. We've contributed to the code base. We've opened up bugs, like issues, and got those taken care of. We've merged in our code into there, as well as made recommendations. So we should be wrapping it up soon, right? I take it slowly so you guys can follow along, but we should be wrapping it up soon, and then we're going to get into our next challenge. So looking for different challenges and stuff like that. And then on Fridays, we normally do some Git branching challenges. So tomorrow morning, it is going to be starting a little bit earlier because I have a dentist appointment. So I'm going to start around 6:30 a.m. for the most part. And we are going to continue with our Git branching, learning about that, because that is extremely, extremely important for any realm of software development that you go into. So that is very important. So join us for the Git branching. Even if you can't catch it live, catch it on the replay, because the most important thing is that you're learning and I'm adding value to you. All right. So Coffee and Kata, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 7:15 a.m. If the time changes for any of those particular days, I'll let you know. You'll see it scheduled. That's why you have to hit the notification bell so you can know when I'm going live, stuff like that. All right. And you'll see it in your feed. Sunday afternoons, it is software explorations, where we are going through Terraform. So we've been having a great time with that. We're going to continue on that adventure this coming Sunday, where we are going to try to configure, we're going to try to get our EC2 instance to be able to connect to it so we can install our script, install the rock, paper, scissors challenge on that instance. All right. So that's the idea. And then we have Tuesday nights where we do Q&A session. A very, very, very special Tuesday night is coming up because I have claimed again next week to be Cybersecurity Week for the month of December, where on Q&A night, it will be me and Socks who are going live at 8 p.m. both on both of our channels. I like to start the party a little bit earlier. We'll be hanging out, making our announcements, seeing what our plans are. Just hang out before we join stocks on the stream so that we can have our Q&A for cybersecurity questions. So many people are always saying, I want to get into cybersecurity, but I know nothing about cybersecurity. Well, this is your opportunity to come in and learn about cybersecurity from an expert in the industry. Almost like I think he has about 20 years in cybersecurity now, right? So come and learn from an expert. Ask your questions. Any question is welcome. There are no dumb questions in this case. Sometimes there are some dumb questions, but not when it comes to cybersecurity, because although quote unquote cybersecurity has been around for a while, but it wasn't necessarily named by that. And there's so many different technologies. So definitely check out, like, come and join us. Ask your, like, we've posted everywhere, right? Like that you can post your questions and we'll gather those questions and we'll answer them, but you can also ask questions on the live stream. So definitely come join us for that. We would love to answer your questions to give you a little bit more insight about questions about cyber and your pathway into there. So many opportunities. So like, don't waste it, because guess what? Like, who knows how long we can continue doing these Q&As, right? Because like Sox University is being launched in on January 11th, I believe, right? So I don't know what his availability is going to be to continue these monthly Q&As. What if it becomes like twice a year or once a quarter or something like that, right? So take advantage of it. Take full advantage of the opportunity that we're giving you, right? Like I always say, like we are in many different areas, and we're always say, hey, does anybody have any questions? Anybody have any questions? And people just stay quiet, right? But then they say, like, then people say, oh, there's no help, there's no assistance, and we are like here willing to help, and you stay quiet. So that's why I have a Q&A night. It's to answer your questions. So if you have questions about, like for this coming Tuesday about cybersecurity, you have an expert in the field for God knows how many years, right? Who's trying to help you to help yourself. And if you don't show up and you don't ask the questions, then there's only so much that we can do, right? And then I have the Q&A and all the other Tuesdays Q&A sessions that I'm here to answer your questions, finding questions around the world for you to answer. So come and join Q&A night, right? Get your questions answered, and you can feel like you are actually making progress instead of like just sitting lost in a room with no windows, no doors. I don't know how you got in there, but sometimes that's what it is. All right. And then Thursday nights, which is tonight, we have more software explorations. I was planning to continue with Amazon Q tonight, the chatbot for business, what we did last week, but my good old friend Don told me about AWS Fargate for like I think on the Sunday stream, and I was like, what is this? Is this a typo? And he was like, no, check it out. And I checked it out, and I was absolutely stunned. So I was like, well, I need to do this. So let's do it on a live. So here we are. And after I'm done with these announcements, then I'll talk about what Amazon Fargate is, and we'll continue with the show. Right. So, right. So that is our live show schedule. So once again, Coffee and Kata Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 7:15 a.m. Sunday afternoons at 2:15 p.m. Eastern time. Software explorations. We are continuing going through Terraform. Tuesday nights, Q&A sessions at 7:15 p.m. and Thursday nights, more software explorations at 7:15 p.m. Eastern time. All times are Eastern time, all right? So that is our live show. Let's move on into our pre-recorded show content, all right? So Mondays, Canon Conversations, and this Monday was a good one, I must say. So, your mentors are failing you. You need to get the right mentors, because I think that's on you, right? People will try to try to become your mentors because they need something, they want something out of it, but you need to be able to properly vet and choose out the right mentors. Like, spend as much time on choosing your mentors as you choose as you research for stuff on Amazon, right? Or whatever it is that you spend a lot of time trying to make a decision on, like what you're going to eat tonight, whatever it is. You need to spend more time on choosing your mentors, because that makes a huge difference in your life, right? So Mondays, Canon Conversations. Wednesdays, Software Explorations. We did a overview of Amazon Q, because I know we went over it last Thursday, but just to make it specifically about what it does and its benefits and its purpose, we did a Software Explorations pre-record yesterday for that. So definitely check that out. I think it's going to be very, very helpful to enterprise companies. And like I said, we're going to continue going through that, trying to configure it. and see what we can make, what we can do with that. All right. And then Fridays we have the bug bite. I was actually going to do another topic for the bug bite tomorrow. However, 23andMe had an update on their alleged credential stuffing data breach, which actually is affecting about 6.9 million of their users, right? So we definitely have to revisit that and talk about that. So tomorrow at noon, the bug bite is going to be talking about the 23andMe updated information on their security breach. So definitely check that out. And then we have throughout the week, we have, sometimes I have shorts. Trust me, don't expect shorts from me, right? When I see something good, I try to put it together, but I can't do shorts, right? It's just too much for me. But you do get the Q&A clips Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern time. So that is the plan. So, one more time, right? Pre-recorded show content. Mondays, candid conversations. Wednesdays, software explorations. Fridays, the bug bites. And then Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern time, we have clips from our Q&A show. All right. So much content, something for everyone. And so that's why I say share share it with everyone, because there's going to be something for somebody in there. They might not want to join, they might not want to, maybe the software explorations might not be their thing, but maybe they have some questions about tech that they can tune in live and ask, or maybe they need that kind of conversation to help them get them right. Or they might be wanting to learn about software explorations, different roles, the salaries, or different tools that they might be able to explore, stuff like that. So that's what we do on Wednesdays. And then, they find it entertaining, the different news stories related to bugs that affected people or cybersecurity issues, So definitely something for everybody. So just come and watch and see how you like it. All right. So that is our show content. All right. Next up, we are going to be talking about, like I mentioned earlier, next week, Tuesday, December 12th, 2023 at 8 p.m. We are doing our cybersecurity Q&A with our good friend Socks, who is in the chat. What's going on, Socks? I am looking forward to our Q&A night, because it was our last Q&A night was absolutely amazing, and then the Welcome to Cybersecurity panel, it was amazing. Hanging out with those amazing people who are in the field. I felt like a fly on the wall, but I enjoyed it. So let's keep going, right? Hopefully you don't become too busy in the coming year, because someone like Sox University is coming up. I know you're a busy guy, but hopefully you make a little bit time for us so you can continue answering questions with us, So amazing. All right. So before we actually get into the show, I'm going to ask one more time, if you are new to the channel and you like what you've heard so far, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, like the video, share the video, all that good stuff. Check out the Patreon at www.techcoachralph.dev, and you can even sign up for free. There's something for everybody, right? So go ahead, sign up, and we can have a conversation, all that good stuff. All right. So what we are going to do next, like we always do, we are going to call for some energy, right?
Please offer me your energy. I ask of you, please.
All right. So the first thing that we're going to do tonight, right, before we actually get into Amazon Fargate, should I? All right. You know what? Let me give you a brief insight about Amazon Fargate before we go any further, right? All right. So what is Amazon Fargate? From my understanding, because I haven't done too much research on it, but as I saw it, I'm like, okay, I definitely got to go and try this out, right? But Amazon Fargate is for serverless containers, right? So, and I'll show you a diagram on it as we get there, but traditionally, and you've seen me do it before, especially with Terraform, right? We would install, or we would would launch an EC2 instance, right? Install Docker on it, and then we would start up our Docker container from there. And that is that can get very expensive, resource heavy and stuff like that, because you have the EC2 containers always running, especially on the sides of it. If it's getting a lot of traffic, if it's, a lot of load, so then you have to get more than one, and it can get very expensive. But my good old friend Don was like, oh, check out Amazon Fargate. So I checked it out, And what it can do is you don't need to do all that infrastructure. It can like launch more containers and scale up and down as needed. It's like a Lambda for infrastructure, from my understanding, right? So and I'm still like, honestly, I'm still not the most familiar with Lambdas and stuff like that. But I want to figure out how I can use Amazon Fargate, AWS Fargate, especially using a image that I have stored in the Amazon registry, right? I think what is it? ECR, Amazon Container Registry, something like that, right? So yeah, we're gonna try that out and all that good stuff, right? But first, before we do that, we are going to. So this is the plan for tonight, right? We're gonna review a video, right? A short video, 5 minutes, about honest estimation, right? And this is very, very, very important if you're in tech, if you're a developer, if you're a QA, if you are whatever it is, like if you're DevOps, a web designer, whatever you are in tech, right? In like the development side of it, especially about honest estimations. Then we're going to do our work on our Amazon Fargate, and then we will take a break. And then once we take the break, we're going to be reviewing a video that I saw this morning that I thought would be extremely, extremely helpful to us all. About, it's about, I forgot his name, right? I think so. The YouTube channel name is Calculus Coder, right? And I'll put the link in the chat to the video after when we get there to reviewing it. But it was talking about his experience being self-taught and doing a boot camp for software engineering. And I just found it fascinating, and I definitely want to review it with you all. So and then we're gonna finish up with the Fargate, see how as far as we can get, and then we'll call it a night, and we'll do all of our goodbyes and all that good stuff, right? So with that being said, before we go any further, I have my bestie in the chat, Nikolai Smith, aka Mr. Socks. He says, "Hey, I have infrastructure. This could eliminate the cost while delivering content." Yeah. So yes, you are right. I was looking into the Amazon Fargate for the technology, mainly about the like how it works, the serverless containers and stuff like that. But that is definitely an option. But as well, though, if because like for instance, right, at my job, we use AWS EC2 on a bunch of stuff, but exploring to see like, hey, what do you guys think about? Have you guys heard of Amazon Fargate, AWS Fargate? Can we leverage that in any way? So it's but for if I need infrastructure, I know where to go to. It's to Socks, of course, like no doubt. But just putting out the information out there about all the different options that you have, especially using Docker containers and stuff like that, right? But shout out to you, Socks. Shout out to you. I think something that we can do is take a run through how your infrastructure is, so that we can because maybe why does it only have to be AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud Platform or DigitalOcean, right? Why is it only them? Why can't we have I don't know, you need to come up with some cool acronym, Socks, for your system, right? But we can do that too, and then we can offer the same things and all that good stuff. So that is always an option. And then Sock says, thinking AWS and deployments as well. We're gonna have to talk, and we're gonna have to try it out, because I think that is an amazing opportunity. So let's put that on the list. Put that on the list of things to talk about. All right. Awesome. You see, look at that. Always providing solutions. And that's why I rock with Socks. Always adding value. So it's totally amazing. All right. So let's go from here. So I'm going to go and we're going to go and talk. We're going to watch this video together, and I might pause it throughout to add some feedback, but it is extremely important that, like I said, if you are in dev, this video is one of the most important that I could share with you for your interpersonal skills, working with stakeholders and team members and all that. Right. So let's get to it. All right. So this this presentation is by Uncle Bob, Robert C. Martin. It's based he talks about it in his book, The Clean Coder, right? He probably talks about it in other places as well, but he talks about it in The Clean Coder. And I'll put this link in the chat in the description as well, so you can follow along. But let's go and give it a watch.
I expect honest estimates. What is the most honest estimate you can make? Exactly the right words. I don't know. The most honest estimate is I don't know, because the answer is you don't know. How long is it going to take me to do this thing? I don't know. But you do have a little bit more information than that. See, there's two components to an estimate. There's the accuracy and the precision. Now, the I don't know is the right precision. It's just that you haven't been very accurate. So give me some kind of number, right? Like, how long is it going to take you? Well, you know, I think Friday seems like a good number. Here's what I really want. I want three numbers. I want the best.
So, how many people have been asked to give an estimate, right? And here's the problem, right? Especially in tech. If you ask a lawyer, right? He speaks about this in his book, right? If you ask a lawyer, oh, I need an estimate on this, and they're going to tell you, oh, this is what it is, and then you just accept it, right? You don't push back, you don't do anything, you just accept it, right? But when it comes to people in tech, and you're like, oh, give me a number, and you say, all right, it's going to be 3 weeks, right? And now they want to negotiate with you. And they're like, well, can you do it in 1.5? And you're like, no. What do you say? Well, what do you say when they say that, right? You say, it's going to be 3 weeks. And they say, well, can you do it in 1.5, right? And now you start like, I don't like to be in that position, right? Because I'm like, well, I gave you a number, and now you're like trying to cut it in half, you know? So, and he's going to talk about it, but we have the tendency of folding and compromising because we just don't like to be in that type of in those positions, right? We don't like to be in that position, so that's what we end up in, right? So let's continue a bit.
Best case, the expected case, and the worst case.
You wind it a little bit.
It seems like a good number. Here's what I really want. I want three numbers. I want the best case, the expected case, and the worst case. I want you to say, well, if everything goes right, and I mean everything, then I might be able to get it done by Wednesday. But things don't usually go right, so probably Friday. But if all hell breaks loose, probably next Friday.
So, with that, right, how many times have you found yourself giving an estimate, but it's like because you know that they're trying to pressure you, so you only give the best case scenario, right? So you're like, oh, I can get it done within a week, right? And they still might try to push you to get it done within like half a week, right? But you're like, I can get it done within a week. But you know that it's if every single thing goes right, and then as soon as you start, you find a problem that takes you like out of the week you estimated, out of 7 days, it took you like 6 days to fix it, and now you're like way behind. You're like, I don't know how I'm going to deliver this, right? So now, do you work longer hours, work late to meet your delivery, or do you just like do you say, oh, I'm sorry, I know I said it was going to be a week, but it's actually going to be a week and a half or 2 weeks or something like that, right? Like, what is it that? How do you handle that? Like once you find that showstopper, something that blocks you, because you don't know what you don't know, right? So now you're giving this estimate and you pretty much get stuck, right? And now your estimation is totally blown away because you didn't know something, and now your word is out there. So what do you do, right? So let's continue following along.
Now that's a very honest answer. It's honest both in accuracy and precision. You've given both the expected time, but the boundaries on your lack of knowledge, on your indecision. It's wise to provide that kind of information. And how many of you have done this ever and then had the response, well, that's not good enough. We need to know. What do you do then? No. Ever, and then had the response, well, that's not good enough. We need to know. What do you do then? You say, I'm sorry you need to know, but that's the best I've got. Well, you got to do better than that. You can't do better than that. Well, there's got to be some way you can improve your estimate. No, there isn't. Oh, come on, you're not being a team player. Actually, I am. I'm giving you the best information I have right now. You're the manager, manage. Right? And then here comes the word, well, will you at least try?
So I think I was muted for the last part, but what I was pretty much saying is like, they'll come to you, right? So here's my scenario, right? What I was saying is that they'll come to, for instance, Socks, right? And they'll say, Socks, how long will it take for you to build out this infrastructure? And Socks says, it'll take me 3 weeks, right? And he'll say it takes 3 weeks, and then they say, oh, that's not good enough. I need it, and I already told the client's going to be a week and a half, so I need you to do it in a week and a half. And Socks is like, well, why are you asking me? Like, if you already made the commitment, like, well, why didn't you just come and tell me what I was going to do? So now, while Socks has to burn the midnight oil, trying to get this thing done ready for the client that he never agreed to, right? The person who's managing the project, they are, living their best life, hanging out with their family, playing golf and stuff like that. And you have total burnout because you are doing something that you never agreed to, and that really pisses you off, right? So that's what I was pretty much saying, right? So that's what we're getting into right now.
Careful. Use the word. Right? And then here comes the word, well, will you at least try? Careful. It'd be very tempting right now to say, yes, I'll try. You must not say that. The answer is...
So why do you think you must not say that you will try? What's wrong with trying, right? Like, where is he getting at? What's wrong with trying? If somebody asks you, will you at least try, right? Is there something wrong with actually trying? Right? What's wrong with trying? What does it imply when somebody asks you, will you at least try?
How dare you imply that I am not trying?
Exactly.
I've been trying this whole time. I am still trying. And you're suggesting to me that I'm not trying. I don't have any magic beans in my pocket. I cannot change reality. The numbers are as I've told you. You're going to have to deal with it. I am not going to try. You know, by the way, that you are tempted to say, yes, of course I'll try. And why are you tempted? Because you and I, frankly, did not get into this business because we like working with people.
We don't like confrontation, right? That's like, I don't like confrontation. I like when I tell you something that you accept it, but trust me, I've seen like, you can give the most detailed advice and some people will utterly reject it, right? So you just gotta dust your shoes off and keep it moving, right? But we didn't get into this industry to be arguing with people and stuff like that. So now they say, well, will you at least try? And for some people, when you say I'll try, that's like signing a contract in blood, right? So because then once you tried and you don't get it, and they're like, but you promised, and like, I never promised this. Like, yeah, you told me you would try. Like, yeah, I tried. Like, no, but you promised. Like, saying I'll try is not a promise. And that's where the communication drops. And that's what you need to be able to, and this is why this is important, right? About estimation, about communication, about, so let's keep watching.
And we're not very good at working with people. So in a confrontation situation where there's somebody in your face going, I need it by Friday, we want to get rid of them. We want them to go away. And if they say, will you at least try? You've got an easy way to make them go away. Yes, I'll try. Now go away. But here's the problem with that. The fact that you have said you will try will not change your behavior at all. There will be no different decision you will make, no different behavior you will use. It will change nothing about the outcome. It was a lie.
So, out of all the times you said you would try to do something, right? Has that caused you to work any differently than if you didn't say you would try? Because the intention was from the beginning that you were trying, right? And that's what he's saying. Like, that's kind of rude and offensive to ask me if I'll try, because that means that I wasn't trying before. Everything that we do, we are trying to do it until we succeed and complete it, right? So that's why I really appreciate this video and appreciate this speech and appreciate the book overall. The book is called The Clean Coder, where he specifically talks about this, right? But when you ask someone to try, you are implying that they weren't going to try in the beginning, right? But when I say I'll try, I just do exactly what I was going to do in the first place. You know, work on it. If I'm able to do it, then I'll do it, right? I haven't made it. To me, saying I'll try is not a commitment, but some people take it as a commitment. So
you told a lie. Because you already are trying. And there's nothing you can do about your current uncertainty. To specify it and let the chips fall where they may. You had a question up in the back, and I delayed it as long as I could.
I just want to say that the response we usually get is they only hear it the Wednesday. They don't hear it.
Yes, of course. Right. Yeah. You give them the best case, the nominal case, and the worst case. All they hear is the best case. And then they shorten it by 2 days. Right. Because they figure you're padding. Right? This is just a trust issue.
isn't that what I was just telling you? Right? You give them these different cases, and especially when you just give a single number, they're going to take what they want out of it, and then they're going to shorten it even more, making your deadline impossible. And then they're going to tell you, "Oh, well, I told the client this," but that's not what I told you. So many times I've experienced that, right? Where we give a deadline and then they come back and say, "Oh, the client needs it this day." I'm like, "So? You're the project manager, manage." Right? Just because the client needs it for something, that doesn't change our ability to type or code any faster. Unless you want a code, something full of bugs that's untested, And sometimes they'll even say, "Oh yeah, we don't need unit tests." What? Are you serious? Come on. All right. So that's where we're at, right?
And we've had this problem all along, where developers will start padding on the back end, and then the managers start taking the padding off on the front end, and it's this constant race to see who the heck has got the most padding or can take it away. You give the range and you hold to the range, and then you improve the range when you have better knowledge.
So that was the video I wanted to share with you guys and give some commentary about giving honest estimations. All right. I really came up today and I shared it with my team. You know what? In order to help us to be in a better position is, instead of giving a hard date or something like that, because the business people, they love those hard dates, those deadlines to hold you by the neck by. But I think that as developers, we need to stick together and implore, don't let look out for each other, right? Because developers, the engineering team, right? So QA, developers, front end devs, back end devs, cybersecurity, all of those, right? Everyone who falls into that, right? Site reliability engineers, everyone who falls into that, right? that is your family. Like that's a brother and sisterhood, right? And if you see a developer or one of your peers like trying to get pressured into trying, you have to stand up for them and like, hey, we are trying, all right? And like we always try. Like you don't have to ask us to try for us to try. Like every day we come to work, we're trying to push the project forward and stuff like that, right? So when like so I re- I recommend everyone in tech to read the book, right? And even the people who aren't in tech, like on the business side, to have some understanding and compassion for the people in tech about like you don't know what you're going to run into, right? So being able to so that's what I'm saying. Consider like when you're giving your estimates, right? The best case scenario, the worst case scenario, and the most likely scenario, right? Um, so that they know and that they can set the right expectations, right? And they can go back to their clients and say, all right, this is what we're looking at, right? And properly manage those expectations, right? So just wanted to share that. I think that I love Robert T. Martin, Uncle Bob. I've learned so much from him, and I'm still going through his books. There's so like I have two of his books. There's so many of them that it'll just get you to be in one of the best spots possible. TDD, test driven development, clean architecture. Just it's just really good stuff, right? So just wanted to share that with you. And with that being said, we can get started with our AWS Fargate. So let's put some time up on the clock and let's go.
It's time to duel!
So like I was saying, right? AWS, Amazon AWS Fargate, it is for serverless containerization, right? So let's go and share the screen. So here we are, right? We recently visited Amazon Q, Elastic Container Service, Elastic Container Registry. So Elastic Container Registry, let's take a look at that. And in here, we have some containers in here, right? Not containers, we have images. So those are our images, right? So our goal is to get our image, like an image from our private repo to be in, let's do it with the other one. Let me think. Maybe I want to log into the other AWS account. Do I have anything I could stand up in there? Yeah, those would be better examples actually. Let me log out of this account and log into the other one. Because I have some, do I have a container in there? Let me see what I have in there. I don't remember. Sign into console. I don't remember if I have a container in there. We need the credentials. Credentials. Oh, by the way, I was going to say this earlier. I apologize to all the people I used to live near when I had a super loud car and used to drive all types at night and day and early in the morning and late at night, waking everybody up. I sincerely apologize because my neighbor's car is absolutely annoying to me. Just every time I go live, it's like he has to go out. It's like he's watching to go out when I go live, right? Drives me up the wall. So I apologize to all my previous neighbors back in the days, all right? So let's put this in. Try that again. I put the GitHub one. Huh, that's why. Sign in AWS. All right. All right, we are in. So let's see if we have. Let's see if we have any 70 in here. If not, then we'll just use the other repo. I do, but this one I haven't used. I should just delete this actually. This was I created this thing. So my first time using ECR was back in 2019, right? Imagine that. So, I have something there, but this one I don't. I'm gonna get rid of it because why am I paying for something that I am no longer a part of? Get rid of that. Because if they were to want it, they would have to pay for it, and it's gone. All right, cool. So we're gonna use the other one then. No biggie. Sign out. All right, let's log into the other one. We have two containers or images in there. All right, so we are in, and here we are. So we have two images that we're going to choose from. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to duplicate this tab. Oh, not sharing. So we're in. This is what we were looking at earlier. I duplicated the tab because I want to go back to here. And I want to go to Elastic Container Service. And let's create another one. We'll call that. Let's see. Oh, before we do that, actually, let's look at AWS Fargate. Let's look at what it is, right? So AWS Fargate, serverless compute. So let's read together, right? AWS Fargate is a serverless, pay-as-you-go compute engine that lets you focus on building applications without managing servers. Moving tasks such as server management, resource allocation, and scaling to AWS does not only improve your operational posture, but also accelerates the process of going from idea to production on the cloud and lowers the total cost of ownership, right? So very cool. The benefits, I think we watched this last time, but let's watch it again because I don't remember.
Containers let you package your code so it can run anywhere. Before, you had to provision and manage servers, often requiring complex infrastructure to run your containers. With AWS Fargate, you can now run serverless containers, so you don't have to manage any servers. Fargate can quickly launch tens of thousands of containers and will seamlessly scale to meet your application's compute requirements. Live the Zen life and let Fargate take care of your containers so you can build powerful apps today. Learn more at aws.amazon.com/Fargate.
So that's what we're going to be looking into today. Sounds really cool. I can see a lot of benefit from that, right? So benefits of AWS Fargate. With AWS Fargate, you can focus on building applications you manage less, choose how you pay, and improve security through isolation by design. And as we've seen in a lot of our security stuff, isolation is very important, don't let things that don't need to talk to each other, pretty much, right? So manage your applications, not infrastructure. Deploy and manage your applications, not infrastructure. Remove the operational overhead to scale, patch, help secure, and manage servers. Monitor your applications to gain metrics and insights. Monitor your applications through built-in integration with AWS services like Amazon CloudWatch, Container Insights, or gather metrics and logs with third-party tools. And maybe we can even do a project where we have that sent to Splunk or AWS or some open source one. Not AWS, Sumo Logic or some open source one, right? Improve security through isolation. Improve security through workload isolation by design. Amazon ECS Task and Amazon EKS pods run in their own dedicated runtime environment. And optimize for cost. Pay only for compute resources used. No upfront expenses. Further optimize costs with saving plans, Fargate Spot, and AWS Graviton processors, right? So that's what I was referring to earlier. How it works. AWS Fargate is compatible with both Amazon Elastic Container Service and Amazon Elastic Kubernetes Service, right? Select any OCI compliant container image, define memory and compute resources, and run the container with serverless compute. With multiple CPU architectures and operating systems supported, you can enjoy the benefits across a wide variety of applications. So this is how I like, and this is how Don brought this up, right? Because I was going to do it like this, right? And I've done it like this through our Terraform project, right? Build your container image, which I've done that, right? And then define and deploy the ECS instance, right? So we have that, and then provision and manage compute the memory resources, isolate applications in separate VMs, run and manage both applications and infrastructure, which is like exactly what we've been doing. And then we pay a boatload of money for the EC2 instance. I don't pay a boatload because I turn it off as soon as we're done, right? But sometimes I forget, and then I incur costs that way. So, but with Fargate, you build a container image. We have that. We've seen that, right? And if you want to learn more about building container images, you should go check out the video that I released on Thanksgiving about how to build Docker images, all right? Define memory and compute resources required. Run and manage applications. Pay for requested compute resources when used. Application isolation by design, right? So that's the plan, right? And then there's use cases, web apps, APIs, and microservices. Build and deploy your applications, APIs, and microservices. So a project that I'm working on, I'm definitely going to try this to deploy it this way. Modernize applications. Use AWS Fargate with Amazon ECS or EKS to more easily run and scale your containerized workloads. Migrate and run your Amazon ECS Windows containers without refactoring or re-architecting your legacy applications. And then support AI and ML and machine learning applications. Create a flexible and portable artificial intelligence and machine learning development environment. Train, test, and deploy your machine learning models with scalable resources that boost server capacity while avoiding over provisioning. So that one is a message for Miss Randy, because this is going to be awesome for the thing that we're working on for your data engineering. And then data processing, run data processing workloads, scale up to 16 vCPUs and 120 gigabyte memory per task, and integrate with AWS Batch for serverless parallel processing. All right. So great stuff going on here. This is very exciting. All right. I don't think we need to read all of this about the customers, and that's pretty cool HTML feature, right? So now that we got that out of the way, let's go ahead and we can close this out. Actually, I'll put this in the, let me put these videos in the, let me drop these in the chat, right? So we have one. So that is for expecting honest expectations. And I'll put the links in the description as well after the show. That is for Amazon Fargate. And now let's jump back to setting up our Fargate, right? So let's say we do a TCR test cluster. Test or TCR Livestream Fargate. All right, let's do that. And we'll put today's date. So today is 2023, 12/07. All right. And our infrastructure. So we can do EC2 instances, manual configuration used for large workloads with consistent resource demands, and Fargate pay as you go. You use if you have tiny batches of burst workloads or a zero maintenance overhead. For a zero maintenance overhead, the cluster has Fargate and Fargate spot capacity providers by default. All right. So we choose that. Monitoring. We will leave the container insights off for now. We can revisit that later on. And then we have tags, which let's say I'll add a tag for event live stream. All right, let's leave it as that. All right, cool. So let's go ahead and create. So it is creating it. And then once it's created, we're going to go into it and see what we need to configure it. And we can probably put up a guide on how to do it as well, because the goal is to use a private repo in AWS to a private image in AWS ECR, and have that start up using the AWS Fargate. And maybe I'll leave it up for a few days to see the cost it incurs, you know? All right, so our cluster is created. Let's click on it. And now we need to create a service, right? I think this is as far as I got last time, right? So we have compute configuration, capacity, provider strategy, launch type. So specify a launch strategy to distribute your tasks across one or more capacity providers, or launch tasks directly without the use of capacity provider strategy. I am not. Let's go with this one, I guess. Let's see. Launch type. Select either managed capacity Fargate or custom capacity EC2. External instances are registered to your cluster using the ECS anywhere capability. All right. There's a lot of stuff that we're not too familiar with, but oh, this is advanced. Why are we doing advanced stuff, right? So if this was I'm gonna refresh the page. I don't even know why advanced pops up open for us, right? Let's see. Let's leave it as that, right? I don't want to mess with advanced stuff. So deployment configuration. Specify what type of application you want to run. A service, launch a group of tasks handling a long-running computing work that can be stopped and restarted. For example, a web application, which that's what we're going to do. Or you can do a task, launch a standalone task that runs and terminates, for example, a batch job. So there's use for this too, like if you're running a script, but we are going to be doing a service. All right, so specify the revision manually. All right. Or so no, that's not what we're doing. So family. So we have to create let me see. Where did I see? Let me see. So okay, so select an existing task definition to create a new task definition, right? We have to go here. And create a new task definition. And we'll say TCR live stream start task start image. I don't know. Whatever. Let's say task. We leave it as that, right? And then we're gonna do our Fargate. And then we'll do the date, which is going to be 12/7 or 2023 12/07. All right, so there we go. Now, infrastructure requirements, Fargate. I don't think we need that many, but what, 2 gigs? That should be good enough for us. Task role. Conditional. Let's see. The task execution IAM role used. So the identity and access management role allows containers in the task to make API requests to the AWS service. You can create the task execution role. A task execution IAM role is used by the container agent to make on your behalf. You don't already have task execution IAM role. We can create. All right, so let's see what is that. So here we are. Now we need to pull in our image. So let's do TCR test container. So the only thing I'm not sure about is what if the private registry authentication is within your same AWS account? We'll find out. All right. So registry URL. So we're going to go here or not there. Oh, we're going to go here and we are going to Copy URI. I'm gonna go in here. I'm gonna go to that. Right. And then we want it on port, container port. What is the container port for that? What is the container port for that? Let's see. Let me see. Where is our insomnia? I think it's insomnia. Or maybe it's talent. Let me see. Let's go to maybe it's Postman. So many different spots, so many different applications that we use, right? Let's close that out. Let's see.
Lunch break! Lunch break!
Let's do. I want to say it's port 8000. I'm not entirely sure. Let's see. Let's see. We have our image URI. $80.80. All right, cool. $80.80. So port container 8080. And we don't have a port name. So let's see. Leave this on for now. Health check. No, we don't have none of that stuff right now. Let's see. What else do we have? The amount of ephemeral storage in GIB allocate for the task by default. Your task hosted on AWS Fargate receives a minimum of 20. All right, so that's good enough. Let's click create and then we can go to break. All right, so because we didn't put the credentials in, I don't know what's going to happen when we try it, but we can always go and create another task and do the credential stuff that we need to figure that out. All right, so let's go here and let's refresh. Ooh, I can refresh this page. And if it's buffering, I'd rather it be buffering than it cuts off the stream like it used to do. But hopefully you're able to follow along and it's not too bad. But I don't know. Comcast is acting stupid these past recently. So let's do that. Service name. Let's say TCR Livestream Fargate service name. These are task 1. Networking. Guess that's good. And let's click on create. And we can go to break. Cool. So when we come back from break, we can see how it all worked out, but we're on break. So how is everyone doing tonight? How's everyone doing? All right. This is good stuff. I hope you enjoyed the Uncle Bob Robert C. Martin chat about proper estimations. I think that's extremely important. I think the whole book of, you know what, let's do this real quick, right? Let's take a look at what that book talks about. During our next break, we'll review the video that I was referring to, which I found that like video super informative, super useful. You know, so whatever. Let's see. So let's look for. All right. Um, all right, so let's take a look at this book real quick, right? Because like I said, it's super important, right? So the Clean Coder. I bought this book February of this year, right? But I had heard about it, listened to it, all right. So, but I did want a physical copy of it, right? So let's look at the Amazon description of it, right? And it's about $40. To have it on Kindle. I don't like these type of books on Kindle because for me it's hard to. I don't know. It's hard for me to like. I don't know. For these type of books, I need like the physical copy. The audio book is good too, but you still need a physical copy of these type of books because there's so much stuff in there to see, right? So programmers who endure and succeed amidst swirling uncertainty and nonstop pressure share a common. Give me a second. Okay, cool. Programmers who endure and succeed amidst swirling uncertainty and nonstop pressure share a common attribute. They care deeply about the practice of creating software. They treat it as a craft. They are professionals. In The Clean Coder, a code of conduct for professional programmers, legendary software expert Robert C. Martin introduces the disciplines, techniques, tools, and practices of true software craftsmanship. This book is packed with practical advice about everything from estimating and coding to refactoring and testing. It covers much more than technique. 1 second, please. It covers much more than technique. It is about attitude. Martin shows how to approach software development with honor, self-respect, and pride. Work well and work clean. Communicate and estimate faithfully. Face difficult decisions with clarity and honesty. And understand the deep knowledge. Understand that deep knowledge comes with a responsibility to act. So, what will we learn in this book, right? What did I learn in this book so far? What it means to behave as a true software craftsman. How to deal with conflict, tight schedules, and unreasonable managers. Yeah, this section of the book was so helpful, right? Like I just can't stress how important that part is, right? And then how to get into the flow of coding and get past writer's block. How to handle unrelenting pressure and avoid burnout, very important. How to combine enduring attitudes with new development paradigms. How to manage your time and avoid blind alleys, marshes, bogs, and swamps. How to foster environments where programmers and teams can thrive. When to say no and how to say it. When to say yes and what yes really means. Great software is something to marvel at. Powerful, elegant, functional, a pleasure to work with as both a developer and as a user. Great software isn't written by machines. It is written by professionals with an unshakable commitment to craftsmanship. The Clean Coder will help you become one of them and earn the pride and fulfillment that they alone possess, right? So very, very important. Can't stress this book had a significant impact on my life because I'm not exactly a developer, right? I see myself as engineer and dev adjacent because I do a lot of development and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I am QA. But so many principles that I've learned from this book, right? Which as I continue to grow and learn, then I can like delve into the other books and stuff like that, right? Some of the other books. I have this one. I don't have this one yet, the Clean Architecture, but I do have the Clean Code.
Get a move on. Back to work. Chop, chop. Let's go. Come on. Get a move on. Back to work. Back to work. Back to work.
And I love the Clean Coder, right? Let's see if we were to go. Just reading one review, right? Programming is an interesting profession. It's not just an engineering exercise where you're building the most logical, structured, and well-designed application according to some set of industry best practices. Rather, there's a great deal of creativity that goes into it, in artistic quality. And I think that writing code is an art form as well, if you will. Instead of solving a particular problem the same way for every project, you must creatively adapt your thinking and communication to meet the expectations of each project stakeholder. Programming is not well understood like other professions. You know what lawyers, accountants, and doctors do. Their workflows and processes are well known since their professions are mature and a good portion of the population has interacted with them directly or indirectly. Programming, on the other hand, is different. To many people, a website or software solution magically just appears after a programmer spends time at his or her computer. And enter Robert C. Martin's Clean Coder. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it's a very good review. It looks like, so definitely check out this book. All right. So back to full screen, and we're going to get back into AWS Fargate, and then on our next break, we are going to review the video that I was talking about the his YouTube channel name is Calculus Coder, about how he failed as a self-taught software engineer and also attending a boot camp, and we'll review that. All right. So let's get back to AWS Fargate. When we left off, we had created it, but
Let's go! Let's go!
there was an error. Error occurred during ECS deployment circuit breaker was triggered. So it wasn't created. Let me see if I click here. What happens? Nothing. So let's view in CloudFormation. Let's see what happened. Let's see if it gives us any information at least, right? So let's move this back over here. All right. Let's see. 12.7. Let's see. User. So we started here. User initiated. I don't know what that means. Rollback in progress. Let's see. I don't see why exactly. Let's see. Resources. I wish I could see. All right, let's see. Template used to create ECS service. Status rollback complete. All right, do we have? If we go to this one, if I click on that, what happens? Let's see here. Events. If we go here, events. No output. Stack info. If I click on this, I don't know. That doesn't really tell us much, right? Let's try the rollback. Hold on. Let's check failed maybe. Let's see. If we don't see it here, because I was trying to look for a clear error, which is not the clearest error, right? Let's see. See what this is. Oh, now we're just exploring, trying to get a little bit more familiar with this, because there's not a clear error message on why this is failing, right? So fail to open your application. We know that. But the question is why? Oh, cool. There's a runbooks. So runbooks is like the documentation of the application that you're using. So that's interesting that they have that in there. But let's keep looking. Excuse me. Hit the mute button right on time, I hope. All right. Let's see. So let's close this out. So we have our task. Let's run the task, see what happens. I think that'll help, right? If we run the task, we can see if there's any errors, I suppose. Or does it take us right back to where we were before? Let's try. Choose a cluster. That one. Choose all of them, I guess. Doesn't hurt. Security group. Choose that security group. And oh, you can command override. All right, cool. Wondering. Now I'm wondering about something. So, if we have the Docker cmd command that is passed to the container, so that's good. Like, how does the container actually get started up? Now that I think about it, right? Let me see. I didn't think about that, right? You do have to start up the container. The only problem is I can't see. Might just Google it. You know, we have this. I don't think it's. All right, it is this one. So let's take a look at that real quick. Docker run. Can only be one CMD instruction in a Docker file. But that's not what we want, though. We want a Docker run command. All right, so we're gonna do this, right? We're gonna do this. Configure AWS Fargate with ECR private registry. So the search is for configuring AWS Fargate with ECR private registry, right? Let's see. All right. So let's take a look at this one. If there's any so this Stack Overflow might help, right? So when searching for this at EOS to do this using ECS, it requires either putting a config file or a particular directory or setting environment variables, neither of which are possible when using Fargate as it is serverless. Let's see. As of 2018, so this Fargate's been off for a while apparently, but as of 2018, this answer is no longer valid. You can use private registries. All right. I found, okay, Fargate launch type only supports images in ECR or public repos, which is implies easy workaround is to upload a copy of the image to ECR. Okay, so we have that. Like I'm missing something. First, you'll show your private registry credentials. So we don't need that. So let's see. Okay, Fargate launch type for ECS. You just need ECR and CloudWatch endpoints for ECR. Okay, got that. Actually, if you use AWS logs, you can add CloudWatch endpoints as well. All right, so let's take a look at this one. See, so that's if we have a private repo, but we don't have a private repo. We have that's not all right. So let's go back and search for let's see. Let's see if we have, you know how Medium is sometimes they just give you part of the application. So of the documentation. So install, all right, we got that. I think we got this done, but if not, we will create a user. All right. Connect to the EC2. Why do I need an EC2 instance? All right, so create the cluster. We got that. So we got all this. Create an image using Docker, push into repo. We got that. Git clone. All right, we got all that. Command. Right, we got. All right, so demo cluster lab app. Create task in ECS and run the task on that ECS cluster. This is I feel like this guide is kind of lacking. All right, so here, so all right, so we have this. So we're creating it, or create a task. Okay. Task, all right, we have that. That is this one. And networking. So okay, so All right, so there should be a task tab, and that should say running. I don't know. Let's see. Go back to our. See, no task is running. Let's see. Thing I don't. So let's go look at the task again. Let's close these out. We have this task, right? We have port 8080, container name, port 8080, TCP, HTTP. We have this private registry is turned off. Should be able to access it, right? We didn't put any environment variables. Everything's in the Docker image. That needs to do. I don't think there's anything special to add to the Docker image, though. All right, so let's do done. And we go back over here. Close this down. All right, so we want service. And we want this, right? Okay. Sorry. All right, so let's say CCR Fargate live. And that is, what day is today? 2023, 12/07. All right, let's try that. Let's see. So we're not going. Oh, yeah, it's fine. Let's see. I don't know. Let's leave that as that for now. Networking. We got our network set up. Load balancing tags. We don't need none of that stuff right now. All right, let's try it again. I don't know. This is okay. I remember seeing this last time, but whatever. Let's see. Let's see. Wish I could see what's going on. All right, let's see what's going on. So something happened. Let's see. The central container and task exited. Let's see what's going on here. Stopped. So I want to see. I want to see why. Let's Let's see. Container and task exited. See if we can find any logs about this. Let's refresh the page real quick. Let us refresh. So no tasks. And if we go back to here, it's going to give us refresh again. Cached. Something. Let's see if we open that. There's not going to be anything on this port. Let's see. Okay, so there's private. I think it failed. Officially failed. Let's see. Yep, failed. Failure. Task failed to start. I want some details onto why. Infrastructure.
Lunch break! Lunch break!
Let's see here. Let's see. I want some details before we go to break. Not metrics. Let's see. It's not metrics that we're looking for. Let's see what we have in here. Go to the logs. Let's take a look at this one. Oh, so it actually got, okay, so this is good. It actually got to the container, but there was some format error. So like something's wrong with our, oh, let's see. So let's look at our, let's take a look. Like something might be wrong with our command then, because we keep getting, this is the error that we're getting here. This is good, right? This is good. We're getting this error. But that's like more of an error with our, container. So we could try this, right? We can try doing a whole different container though. This is, I just wish, let me see something. Let's copy. So let's try it. We're gonna make it easy, right? Because if the problem is, so let's go to break. But if the problem is with our image, right, which it shouldn't be because I got it to work earlier, right? Like using the image, but we can try with one of the public images from like Docker Hub, right? But that error is interesting that we're getting that. I don't think we should, but let me look one more time. Let's Google this real quick. If that doesn't work, then we'll just try it with one of the AWS or not AWS, with one of the Docker images. So there's not an sh file in here. So. All right. Anyways, let's go ahead and review this video. Then we'll come back for like one or two more segments where we will try to do it with a AWS, not AWS, with a Docker public repo. Maybe like use the Selenium, maybe Selenium grid. See how that goes, and we'll go from there. Right. So let's do this. And I'll take the timer off for now. And this video, like I said, is from Calculus Coder and it's called I Failed as a Self-Taught Software Engineer and Bootcamp Grad. All right, so let me go ahead and make that full screen. All right, so we are going to follow along. We'll pause for commentary. I did ask him and he gave me permission to review the video. I think it's a great video as well. So let me know what you think.
So I failed as a self-taught software engineer and as a bootcamp grad. And I wanted to share with you guys my story, exactly what went wrong, what happened, and I guess just make an unfiltered video. I see mostly success videos of people going from self-taught to software engineer in a matter of like 6 months. But I guess I wanted to share more of like an unfiltered, uncut version. I'm a person that likes sharing not only my successes, but also my failures of how things didn't go as planned. But thankfully, I'm very grateful for this, exactly, for me failing, because it ended up working out at the end. And it couldn't have gone better than this, honestly. So to try to save you some time from my boring story, I'll try to go through it as fast as possible. It all started in 2022.
So before we go on, right? How often do we hear about, 6 months to this, 6 months to that? Try this boot camp out. There's so many boot camps, like for whatever it is, there's a boot camp for it now, right? And those boot camps, like I always say, they are not cheap, and they tell you like, if you do this boot camp, you're going to be making $500,000 within 6 months, right? And then people are like, how can I get that? How can I get that? Stuff like that, right? Like I said, the boot camps do not provide bad training, but the way that they lure you in for the price that they lure you in at, that's when you have to like do your research, do your investigation, and we are going to hear from Calculus Coder about his experience overall being self-taught. And I'll have an additional comment after he gives you a little bit of his background.
I have an educational background in mechanical engineering. I did do schooling for 2 years and did a lot of like introductory programming courses like C, C++, Python, and some other courses like that while doing my degree. And I ended up taking basically 2 years off to do unrelated work, which I obviously honestly hated and did not like. And I realized that I actually wanted to go back into the field, but as a software engineer, not really a mechanical or like electrical engineering. And I realized that software was something that I really enjoyed. Software, mathematics, computers, and I instantly found like just a passion for programming, for coding. And I thought, you know what? Why not take a risk and try to get into this field?
So keep in mind, as we watch this video, as we listen to that, he has a background in mechanical engineering, right? And he had experience with some, like, degree in mechanical engineering. He had like some exposure to coding and stuff like that. He did go spend 2 years, and I'm going to assume that he's fairly young, because if he got his background in mechanical engineering and then he took 2 years off, let's estimate he graduated around 22, and then he took 2 years off. So let's say he's like 24, 25, maybe 26, right? And now he wants to get back into engineering, right? But more of the software side now.
And initially, it was a pretty big mistake of me to not go back to school and finish my bachelor's degree. I seen how people went from, on YouTube and Google saying that you could become a software engineer just without the schooling. And I was like, you know what? I see people are doing it, without the bachelor's degree. And I thought, you know what? It shouldn't be too crazy hard to get in. I have an associate's degree, mechanical engineering. And I realized that it was just a big mistake. I really underestimated this field. So I actually take that back. I wouldn't really call it a mistake. I'd say it was more of like I was unprepared of what would happen in 2023. Because if you look at all those videos of people breaking in boot camp, self-taught, on YouTube, whatever, Reddit, Google, whatever, you'll notice that this was around the year 2021, 2022. If you wanted to break in without an educational background, I'd say those 2 years were the year to break in. But I just wasn't prepared of what would happen in 2023. Honestly.
So here's a question, right? If all those people who broke in to 2020, 2021, 2022 without a background and all that type of stuff, right? Because I know somebody who did a boot camp. They totally, like, even though I had God knows how many years of experience, the advice totally ignored it, and they went in boot camp, and it's like they went to the boot camp just so they can put on their email signature that they're a software engineer, right? They don't do any software engineering, but that's what they say. And they never actually really found a position doing software engineering, right? So I know there are tons of videos talking about that, but sometimes I wonder, like, are they really working as software engineers? I feel like I might want to see a W-2 sometimes, because because they have tons of followers based off what they're saying, and we know that people, they do fabricate stuff. Maybe they're working as a software. Like, I don't know. I really don't know, because a lot of the people, like, I don't know if because I work in software all the time, right? Like, I've been working in software forever. I don't know how often I find someone who, like, did a boot camp personally. I mean, who did a boot camp and now they're making like the amount of money that the people on YouTube claim that they're making, and I don't know. And if they are, they never share it or put it on YouTube or anything like that, right? And the people who do put it on YouTube, they have tons and tons of followers, or tons of subscribers, views, etc., which means they are making a good amount of revenue off of the traffic. So I don't know. It is very interesting for me.
I actually was just a little bit prepared. So I started learning in 2022. I did an online boot camp, and I started learning HTML, CSS, TypeScript, whole bunch of different tech stacks. I learned C#, Java, just so much technologies. I'll probably talk about this in another video. And, it was just overall great. I really enjoyed, the more I learned, the more I enjoyed programming, software engineering, how it worked, and collaborating with others. I just love this field more and more as I kept on going into it. And eventually I started realizing something. I was around 3, 4, 5 months into this like online boot camp, studying like crazy, going all out. And I started connecting with people in the programming world. And I also started talking to people not in the programming world. I had a couple part-time jobs, and the people that I was talking to there, just random people, I started noticing that whenever they ask me, hey, what do you do? I'd tell them like, oh, I'm studying, learning how to code to be a software engineer. I started noticing so many people I met, unrelated to programming, unrelated to coding, were saying, yeah, I'm trying to break into the field too. I'm in a boot camp or I'm doing self-taught. And honestly, I met like 6 people in like while out Walmart, Pizza Hut, Walmart, Pizza Hut, while I was out just shopping and my part-time jobs, people trying to break into this field. And I remember calling my friend, I'm like, yo, I think there's a bubble. You know what I mean? Like, it kind of reminded me of cryptocurrency and the housing market of 2008 when everyone was buying jobs, everyone was buying crypto. Well, right now, when I was coding and, seeing people, everyone was trying to break in, I was like, dang, seems like everyone wants to break in. I went on Google and I seen so many different boot camps and I was like, dang, I think there's a bubble. So fast forward, I ended up having to take a break, unfortunately, due to personal issues, personal reasons, for 5 months. And I completely forgot about tech for like 5 months. I didn't even look at programming once for 5 months. Eventually, when I went back in 2023, everything changed. It was a calamity. I mean, I just looked at my chances go from, 10% to nearly less than 1%. Layoffs, Meta, Google, Microsoft. Banks, so many consulting companies, marketing, tech, FANG. It was just a disaster. And honestly, I was kind of crushed, but for me, I just never give up. I always just try to push, but sometimes I realize that I, I, I mistake giving up, right, for me being stubborn. And I realized that I was honestly being stubborn. I started applying like crazy January 2023 for like 6 months straight nonstop. Applying, networking, building projects, collaborating on big projects. No matter what I did, it just wasn't enough. I'd apply and people were like, well, number one, there were barely any listings. Number two, I was competing with FANG, Meta, Google, just a whole bunch of different types of engineers on the field. So of course it was almost impossibly hard to get a job as an entry level software engineer.
So when you go into this field, right? It's it's like being a self-taught doctor, right? As impossible as that is, right? A self-taught doctor, and then you're going into the field to compete against an experienced, educated doctor with like 20 years of experience, right? Um, you should see like some of the conversations that I have with people who are aspiring to be in QA. And I'm like sharing the different things that you do and just like common terms and stuff like that. Writing a test plan, writing a defect and stuff like that. And it's like totally foreign to them. And then you also want to work remotely. And you know what? I'm just going to say it now. It's going to be impossible to get a remote job as entry level at this point, right? Because guess what? It's already hard enough to get a remote job as an experienced person because companies want you to come back into the office, right? And you have to do what you have to do. If you try to play stubborn, it's not gonna go well for you, you know. And what Calculus Coder is saying right now is his experience, like trying to force his way to being self-taught, doing a boot camp, and it was a tough reality. And I honestly it's hard to hear this story, but I do hear it every single day from people all over, right? For some reason, the people on YouTube, right? For some reason, the people on YouTube, they can always get these $500,000 a year jobs, but then the people that they influence to go into these boot camps, and this is specifically for tech, right? I'm not talking about, I don't know about other roles and like in boot camps, like, things like that, but specifically for like software engineering, cybersecurity, QA, stuff like that. Like I saw a video the other day, like this lady went from 40K to 400K in 6 months doing QA, out of all things, doing QA, right? And so these people on YouTube, they're doing this while the people who go and take their advice and follow their footsteps, they get caught struggling and spend like in debt, paying monthly payments to these places, and it's just not, it's not right. It's not right, the grift is real.
With no educational background, I had my associates. That kind of helped, right? So I continued applying nonstop. I was going all out, networking, just applying like crazy. I have PTSD from those Workday portals. I think if I see one more Workday portal, I'll probably have a breakdown or something. But I just
and I spoke to somebody before who's, after they graduated their boot camp, I think it was for like UI UX or something like that, right? And after like 3 months of like nonstop applying, every day applying, they were like, I want to quit. I want to go back to whatever that they didn't like doing in the first place, right? And to be fair, right, like, this is my fault for offering people advice, because a lot of times, like, when you offer advice, they don't listen anyways, and then they continue to complain. But that's another story. But like, if you put all your effort, or I assume you put all your effort into something, and you keep going at it, but the things that you're trying to get is totally not in your control. Like, you can control how you do your resume, you can control how you study, stuff like that. But if the final decision is not something that you can make, like to make the decision for you to be hired, then it's going to get frustrated, like not getting responses, getting rejected, all that, going on interviews, getting to the last step, right? I see that on LinkedIn every single day. Made it to the last step, but got rejected for some reason, right? Or someone that I know personally, like they made it like right about to get hired, and then the company like took away the job, right? They call it, right? So, it's not easy, but let's keep going.
applied like you would not believe it. I put my resumes through different machines, asked for advice, had a mentor, just applying. But I realized that my perseverance was actually more like stubbornness. I was being stubborn because I zoomed out and I realized that my situation, right? Based on my situation, I could have easily went back to school. My school was going to be paid off for basically. I was still young, 22. I mean, I'm still young now, 23. I could always go back to school. And breaking in right now in this economy.
See, so I thought he had a bachelor's degree, so he had an associate. So he's even younger than I initially expected. He's only 23 years old because he made this video like 2 weeks ago. So yeah, like he could have easily went back to school. Like I can understand it's a lot tougher for like when you're a lot older, you might have a family, you might have kids and all that type of stuff. So it's not that easy to just like go back to school and stuff like that. But in his situation, going back to school seems like it would have been his best option instead of like technically trying to take a shortcut. And I don't fault him for it because that's what he's being marketed, right? He's probably being presented with countless boot camps to take so that he can go and do something in 6 months, right? But if he already has his associate's degree and he needs just another 2 years to get his bachelor's degree, like add another year and a half, and then you have like then you start meeting the qualifications of the job descriptions, right? And I'd be curious to see how his resume looked as well at the time that he was applying, and like things like that, how his LinkedIn looked. It might be the typical like what I normally see, but that's not what we're talking about right now, right? Because I honestly believe that he worked tirelessly to get hired, to do projects and stuff like that, which he's gonna elaborate on.
With how things are going, FANG engineers looking for work desperately. Right now is just, and competing with these people, and me with like no bachelor's degree, me with no experience, just right now wasn't the time to do that. So I realized, what, I should probably swallow my pride, and it's not me failing, it's me doing things differently. So yes, I technically did fail as a bootcamp grad software engineer and self-taught software engineer, but I guess I just kind of changed paths because sometimes you have to realize that some things might not work out, And
that's called a pivot, right? You even if you fail at this one particular thing, the goal, like, and I think what he's realizing is, right, the goal wasn't to get a job because you were self-taught or because you were a bootcamp graduate. The goal is to get to the destination that you want to be at. How you get there, that doesn't really matter as much, right? And that's what he's realizing, right? In software development and agile methodology, we pivot, right? Like we have to go towards the best route. And as you continue to learn, you continue to adjust, you continue to pivot. And that's what he's explaining right now. And that's like why I really wanted to review this video, because he's going to pivot, and then you're going to see like some different results that he gets,
And from there, I swallowed my pride, went back to school and enrolled. And initially, I really didn't want to do that. But over time, I realized how many opportunities this degree had opened for me. And around the summer 23, a whole bunch of things changed for me. The game changed completely for me. I built a startup company, in a matter, I'd say like 3 to 4 months. And I'll probably start making more videos about it. This is a mental health recovery app. And in this channel, I'll also like talk about my startup, and I also want to discuss in like future videos. I might make a future video about how one big project, really big project, could definitely change your life, especially for like CS, IT majors, or even self-taught or bootcamp grads. One huge project can change everything. For me, this project, right, took me around like 4, maybe 5 months. It changed the game for me. The degree and this startup company I built was the game changer. I started applying, I enrolled, I was still in school.
So that part right there is very important. Like, what are you doing? Like it's so much strategy, right? It feels like he stumbled upon his strategy that ended up working for him, right? By building a startup, like I always say, get some experience by freelancing, maybe, right? You have to find a way to get experience. Like that little internship that you don't really do anything significant at, like you just follow a set of instructions that they're giving you at the boot camp. It doesn't mean anything, to be honest. Like, sorry, but it really doesn't mean anything, right? And I think that's what he was realizing. But he's like, okay, let me actually build something that I can show, something I can talk about, something that I can be proud of. Right. And when he's talking about it, he's showing it, and it looks like, from what this morning when I was listening to this, I was just listening to it while driving. But now that I'm actually like watching it, and I can see like what he built, I'm like, this is pretty impressive. And seeing that it's like mental health with like AI and stuff like that, I'm gonna see if I can find this to like go to it after the show to see like what it's all about. But like, I'm impressed by this. And if I was interviewing him, right, I would be thrilled and awed to hear about this little startup that he did, And I'm saying little, but it's not. It doesn't seem like it's little. It's like, but he did a startup, and who knows the future of that. And because of that experience that he has in this project, he has that mindset now that is what is going to be essential and valuable to whatever company he would get drafted on.
School, and I was building this project, and I started applying with this project on my resume. I had it, as a startup on my resume, and also with the degree. And I just noticed how everything changed for me. I started applying, and way more companies were calling back, way more people were calling back. And I had my first couple of Fortune 500 companies reach out too. And this is when my mentality changed, for applying after applying for just 6 months straight, honestly, more than 6 months, I think it was like 7, 8 months straight, barely getting interviews, barely getting callbacks. My mentality changed. I started becoming more confident, and things were just working out better. So ultimately, I started applying. I sent in around 50 to 100 applications. I got around 15 interviews, and after working hard, and I feel like after a whole year straight of failing, changing up paths, realizing what was right and what was wrong for me, I finally landed a couple of I finally, got my first 2 to 3 offers. I won't say exactly how much. And after I got it, I'd say it was probably the most satisfying thing ever. But the game changer for me, at first, I thought was the degree, but I feel like it was mostly a combination of both of them, especially the project. Every single internship I applied for, every single person I interviewed with asked about the project. I was so prepared, technically, explained the whole project, the process, who I worked with. It changed the game for me. And all these companies, honestly, most of them I applied for were Fortune 500, and I'm honestly very honored and grateful for this. I really never imagined to have worked at a company like this, but I'm thankful. I failed self-taught, but I realized realized that it opened a lot of doors for me, and I should have never complained in the first place because I had the opportunity, the time, the resources, the money financially to go back to school. And that's what I basically ended up doing. But most of this video is to tell you that not everyone's going to break into this field. And I don't want to discourage you guys. I believe that most people fail simply because it doesn't work out for most of us. You could have a huge project, networks, you could have a great network, you could know every language in the world, you could know almost everything, but sometimes you're just unlucky. You can't break in. Sometimes someone with 1 or 2 years, 3 years, 7 years of experience is out there looking for the same job as you. And no matter how many skills you have, you just don't have the experience to break in. So I definitely do encourage you guys. If you guys have been in for 1, 2, 3 years and you have no luck, look into other things. Look into a different career path. Look into getting a degree. Look at changing things up again, like me. I was really, sad that I didn't break in. I had I maybe met like one person that broke in. But most of us in our boot camp, to this day, most of us did not break in. And that's okay. And that's the reality of it.
What did I tell you, right? So one person out of how many people broke in, right? And here's the thing. I'm gonna disagree with what he said here, right? He did break in, but he just broke in a different way. He broke in because he didn't break in the traditional way, because the traditional way would have been going to college for 4 years, right? And like 4 years straight, go straight into like computer science, your whole 4 years in computer science, then applying and then getting some type of job in as an engineer or something like that, right? He didn't go the traditional route. He went from mechanical engineering for 2 years, did something else for 2 years, and then he tried to go back through self-taught and boot camp and all of that. Didn't work out to his advantage for like many possible reasons. But then he went back to school and he did a project, a very important project, which I think that is like the key thing that propelled him. But the education helped too. But he's saying like with all the people he went to boot camp with, none of them actually made it. But how many videos we have on YouTube where boot camp, this much, like 6 figure here, 6 figure there. It's like Oprah saying everyone gets 6 figures, right? And he's showing that that is not actually the case. You know what I mean? Like I agree with him. Like I see the same thing, right? And every day I'm getting contacted about, oh, I'm in this boot camp and I've been applying and I'm like, okay, answer some of these questions for me, right? And they can't. You're not adequately prepared. Not saying that college adequately prepares you either, but it does put you some structure. Why wasn't he able to create this this startup that he created before he went back to school? Why he couldn't do that straight from the boot camp? Because I don't believe the boot camps give you that mindset. Not necessarily that college give you that mindset either, but from everything that he's seen, right, from all his trials and tribulations, and at 23 years old, right, navigating through this field, being able to make this video, I think that's where the change is happening, right? And that's
The reality of it in 2023. I wanted to also mention that many of you are probably going to tell me, hey, I failed self-taught simply because I gave up. I stopped moving forward. And that is true. I was 1.5 years in of self-studying and applying, still couldn't land anything, right? And, I gave up. I was like, you know what? I have to stop and do something else. But like I mentioned earlier,
I totally disagree. I don't think it's because he stopped. I am a strategist. I look for every opportunity to be in the best position to win. And I think that he saw that because why can't you be self-taught? Because here's what I say, right? I say, go ahead and be self-taught, right? But then you don't the main reason I like to be self-taught is so that you go get your education, and now it's easy for you. It's not like you have to you're learning this thing new for the first time. It's just to make it easy, right? The same thing. I was like, if you're gonna go to school for computer science, learn everything about computer science before you even get there, right? So then you just get there, do what you have to do, and that way you can even work and do something productive. Because for the most part, to me, like the whole college thing is pretty much a waste of time, right? But if you can effectively waste that time where like, okay, I already know everything, so I can actually be doing more productive stuff, start making money and stuff like that while I'm continuing to get my degree, then you get the best of both worlds, right? Because now you can leverage that degree to go into places that you might not be able to go just by being a boot camp grad and stuff like that, right? So I do disagree with him about that he failed because he quote unquote quit. He didn't quit. He adjusted, he pivoted, and he made 100% the right move, especially at his age and having the it didn't cost him anything to go to. He probably paid a lot more for the boot. I'm gonna leave him a comment and ask him, how much did you pay for the boot camp, right? I'm curious to know because those boot camps are expensive, and if he was able to go back to school for computer science for not paying anything for it, right? If I was his age and I had the ability, I would have done the same thing. Well, I probably wouldn't because I wouldn't know any better, right? But if I had spoken to him and I knew what his options were and that he had the ability, the time, I would say, we're going to do both, right? Let's work together. We're going to do both. I'm going to help you get really good at the stuff that you're learning. But I still want you, if you have the time, I still want you to go to school because you can leverage that to get to way bigger heights, right? That's how I see it. Let's finish up.
Sometimes we can mistake, perseverance with being stubborn or not giving up with being stubborn. Because think about it. Why would I self-study 2, 3, possibly 4 years, right? Have a lot of uncertainty and most likely not get a job, right? When I could have easily went back to school for those 2 years, broken through some internship and had like a million more opportunities, and passed a lot of more recruiting filters with my degree. It just made a lot of sense. Like sometimes, we're like, we could be stubborn and you know what, like I'm going to break in. I have to break in. You're 2 years in and you're like, I'm never giving up. You're 3 years in and you're like, I'm never giving up. But then next thing you know, 3 to 4 years passed, you could have been done with your degree by now. And you're still self-studying. You have no education still. You have no educational background and you have no job. So it's about being resourceful, right? And doing the most with what you can with your time. I really hope not to sound crazy pessimistic. I like giving you an unfiltered, uncut version of, my personal stories and stuff. And I failed self-taught in boot camp, like going in self-taught as a boot camp grad too, because I tried both. And I failed, and that's okay. 1 or 2 people I knew broke in. That's fine. I'm very happy for them. But for me and most of our, boot camp students and grads and classmates I had that couldn't break in, we just had to take a different path, So I really hope that this message, you're not too discouraged. I believe if breaking in right now with 6 months, 7 months, 8 months of studying, keep trying that out. See how it, works out. But I think if you're like 1, 2, 3 years in, and you can't find work, then there's a possibility you might have to explore other options if you really want to work in this field. This field isn't easy. Even if you graduate with a degree, it's still very tough. And, you guys stay encouraged and keep pushing. It's okay to apply to like 1,000. I probably have 1,000 applications, self-taught, and did not get in once. I had a couple interviews. It just didn't work out. But yeah. You guys feel free to like, subscribe, share. If you guys want to see different content on, what I learned, my project itself, I'll be talking.
So go over there and check out the Calculus Coder page channel. And I with the last part that he spoke about, I totally agree. Right? If I was in contact with them like before, I would have said like do both. Right? Like continue to do self-learning, like I was saying earlier. Continue to do self-learning. I probably wouldn't like have recommended the boot camp to like, save some money, but I'd say do the self-learning. Like put yourself in the best position. And go to school, get your education, get your degree, and put it together, put it to use. And now he eventually did right? Because trust me, I guarantee the going to school was a lot easier for him, being that he was self-taught, so he knew all the stuff that he was doing, and it became a breeze, right? So he probably got amazing grades, and he got some new ideas, met some people, networking stuff like that, and he was able to end up building this very cool project. So I think that it all worked out. I don't think he's a failure whatsoever, right? To him, he might fail at being self-taught, getting a job as self-taught and as a boot camp grad. But to me, that is not the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal is getting to your final destination. And I don't think he's at his final destination yet, but he is a lot closer because he is in the field now, building experience, and he has a startup app under his name. So I just want to say shout out to Calculus Coder. All right, so that took a lot longer than expected. So what we're gonna just do one last segment of Fargate to see if we can get that to work, and then we will wrap it up. And then we can probably, if we don't get, like, we'll do another segment. Like, I'm gonna have to troubleshoot, not segment, but we'll do another show where I'll troubleshoot, seeing if I can get this container to start in the like the personalized container to start in the Fargate, the ECS, right? So let's do it real quick, right? So let's put our timer back up and let's go.
It's time to do.
So what we are going to do is we are going to create a new task, right? We're going to do a task where we're going to, let's say we do, let's just call it Selenium Grid, right? Fargate. Did I choose this infrastructure before? Wait a second. I don't remember. Let's just do this real quick, right? I don't remember the infrastructure I chose. Let's leave that as 4. And let's leave it as that. And let's say Selenium Grid. Selenium Arm Docker, something like that. There we go. And we want the where's the image? Where's the image for? Where's the image for that one? Selenium ARM is for ARM processors. Docker images running. So I don't want the running. I just want the image. Let's see. Running the ARM container. Let's see if we put this in here. Let's try that. So if we go to create task, repository. Okay, it's not private. And we want it on port. What port is it? It's 4444. Yeah, 4444. All right. And then they had, so if we look at, so there's 5900 and 7900. And one more. What's this? Guess HTTP. Like everybody else. Okay. Let's see. There's no environment variable. It's just RT. Do we need that? All right. So we can leave that. I'm gonna have to delete all this stuff afterwards, but let's see. Here, timeout, Docker configuration. I need that. So all this is good. And I think we're good. Let's create, see what happens. And if we go back to here, not that one. We go to, did I lose it? Oh, crap. Okay. Let's go back over here. So we're back in our ECS. So let's say we do create service. And we say we're going to do Selenium grid task. And then test TCR Fargate Livestream. If this happens to work, then it's totally because of something's up with our container. But I know the container works because, or the image works because I've used it on something else. But we'll see. Let's see what happens here. Wish there was some type of like logging that you could see better. Let's see. Let's see. So it's pending. Log configuration. See viewing CloudWatch. So CloudWatch is where it's supposed to take the logs, although it's kind of tough to read sometimes. See, we do a live tail. So we're close because if we're on the other one for it to get to UVcorn, that means it tried to start it up, but something was a little bit off. But just wish I could see a way to troubleshoot it, I guess. Go here. And I don't see that much documentation on this either. Like maybe Amazon, I don't know. I always find like Amazon's documentation to be a little confusing to read, to be honest with you. So something is running. Is that right? Oh, snap. Oh my goodness. Is this true? All right, let's see. Let's see. All right, moment of truth here. Moment of truth. So that's not gonna work because this is on port 4444. But copy link address. Let's go here. All right, so let's go if you say 4444. Let's see what's going on here. So it's not loading. Doesn't seem like it at least. But something is running. So that's good because when we were trying to do ours, it was failing right away. The question is, do we have access to it? Oh, let's see. So this is better than we've seen before, right? Yes, one. It might be the Oh, this gives me hope, right? To see it running, that's a good thing. This gives me hope that, wait, deployment, is it not done yet? Might not be done yet. No, it's done. Okay, active, running. So now I'm wondering with the VPC, all right, let's see what's going on. Do we have access to this now is the question. So, okay, so this is good, right? It's running. So we figured this out. Now is just to get to it. So it might be that the VPC is, which now I can have a good idea. So let me see something. If I go see something, now I'm curious, right? If I go here, here, go here, we'll investigate the other one a little bit more later, right? But let's go into here. Logs. Interesting. So this is up. Try it. I think something's wrong with the VPC though. So let's see, what VPC is it using? Go into here. Task. Go into this task. Networking. This should work. Yeah, I think it's a VPC issue. So let's see here. Subnet or security group issue, maybe. What's a security group? Networking, security group. Well, that one's default. Let's see. Let me see. Inbound. Is that right? Let me see something. 4444. Oh, wait a second. Wait a second. What in the world? Hold on. Outbound, inbound, source. That'll make no sense. All right, let's try this. I'm gonna just try what I was thinking first. Add rule. 4444. Cool. Let's see. So now if I go here, look at that. So something with the subnet. So we got to figure out the, not subnet, but something with the security. We have to figure out these security groups a little better, right? Because when it creates the default security group for you, it's not allowing traffic on the port. So yeah, I think I can figure this part out, right? So there was something wrong with the image that I have. I'm not sure why, because I remember it working locally, but that's neither here nor there. Maybe. Let's try something. Let's try something real quick. So we got that working, right? So that's great. And so that means we have Selenium Grid running on Fargate, right? And now I'm curious, right? Let's go to, let's go here, and let's go to here. Let's see. Services. create new service, or actually, let me see. Maybe it's on the task level. Hold on, let's go to task. Task definitions. I am curious. This is using Linux x86-64, but that's good. Okay. Where do I change? I would want to change what it's using, but I might not be able to do it there. Let's create a new task, right? I don't think I ever changed this part, to be honest with you. So let's go to TCR Fargate. Test part 2. All right, so now we have this ARM. I know I used ARM earlier, but I mean, I know on my computer it's an ARM, so I don't know. Maybe the way that I built the image, who knows? So, and now we take this and we go here, and port 8,000 or 80. I don't know. Let's go 8080. I don't know. That's one of them. So let's go with that. And let's go with that. Let's try this. If this doesn't work, then I have to go back to, we have to figure out the image thing. But it's possible that that it requires a ARM architecture and not x86. Right. So now let's go back to here. And let's go here. And let's create, what are we creating? All right. All right. Okay. Okay. Networking. So the security group should be good now because, so if it works, you should have access because I've updated security group manually. So tags. All right. So I think we can try this, right? Let's see what happens. I'm just curious if it was the ARM that was causing a problem. I mean, it cannot be, but let's try to figure it out. That's what we do here. Let's go to logs. No logs. Let's see. Task. Pending. All right. Refresh. It's not the easiest to read, to be honest with you, right? It's not the easiest to read, but we'll do the best with what we have. Log. Okay, so there's some logs. Oh, snap. Oh, snap. What? What in the? Well, but you know what? The only problem is on our port, we don't have 8080 open. But that's fine because if we have a, this might have actually worked. It might have been the ARM that was the problem. Let's see. I am so excited, right? 30 seconds can come and go. We are going to try this out because our thing has started. Let me see. It actually started Uvicorn, so that's what we wanted to happen. Do we have a public IP? I mean, it's in progress, but let's see here.
Lunch break! Lunch break!
All right, so I'm gonna get rid of the timer and let's see what's going on. So something is, I think it's up. It hasn't updated here yet, but I think it's up. I mean, we're seeing a lot more progress than we've seen before, so that's good. Oh, cool. There's a link to ECR right here, so that's good too. I mean, sometimes you gotta take a break and go review a YouTube video before things start working, right? It just resets your thinking. I mean, that was a pretty long review, but I think it was well worth it, don't you think? So let's see here. I'm just trying to wait until it gives us the final yes that it's done. Boom. So, this is it. So annoying. Every single time. All right, completed. So we're good. So now, let's see if we go here. Do we have an IP address? Where did we get the IP from last time? So we know that it started because we have logs, so that's good. Where's my IP? Let's see. Get our IP. I'm just looking for IP address that we infrastructure. Is that there? Dang it. Where did we get it from last time? There we go, public IP. So, and the thing is, this is a different IP than the other one, right? Yep, totally different IP. So, let's go and get. So, I'm pretty sure it's not going to work on port. What port are we looking for? No, I lost it. But let's copy this address. Now, that's not going to work because, and what port did it say in the logs? 8080. Okay, so port 8080. Cool. So now if we go here and we go to port 8080, that's not going to work, of course, right? However, if we go to our security group and we edit the inbound rules and we add a little bit of 8080 in its life, and like I said, we really got to figure out these security groups, but for this purpose, it is what it is. We got that. And now if we do another enter, let's see what we get. So nothing. Oh, there we go. Ooh la la. We got it. We've got it because now we have a JSON. So that means that we have successfully, I repeat, we have successfully configured AWS Fargate. We just need to, because so it wasn't our container, it was our infrastructure. This is working on ARM and we chose x86. So that's why it wasn't working. So that's pretty cool. I am very excited, very impressed by all this. And I am going to play around with it some more. I'm going to shut down the Selenium grid, which is pretty cool that we can run Selenium grid the way that we're running it. But I'm going to shut that down and I'm going to play around with this right quick to see how it works. But I think that is great. So let's go back to our full screen. We went a little bit longer than we normally do, but I think we had some great information tonight, from the estimation to the video of Calculus Coder that I reviewed. I will put the link to that video and his channel in the description. I thank him for giving me permission to review his video. I think it was a great I think it was a great video that he made, and that we can all learn a lot from it. Some of the things that he did, some of the things that I would have liked him to do. But, you know, that's how we learn. He's very young, so he has a very bright future ahead of him, and I'm just anxious to see him win. So, and he already is winning, in my opinion. So there we go. All right. So let me know what you thought of the show. It was a lot, right? This was a pretty intense show, because whenever I get into exploring and stuff like that, and I don't like to lose. And I think we did great, and I am happy that you were along for the ride with me to figure out AWS Fargate, because I'm gonna use it in some things that I'm building. So look out for that. Should be some stuff moving soon, which will help you coming into 2024 to be in a better position to hit the ground running. All right. So with that being said, thank you for tuning in. If you have not done so yet, and if you liked what you saw, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you know every time we go live. Like the video, share the video, all of that good stuff. And check out the Patreon at www.techcoachralph.dev. All that good stuff. I will be live early in the morning around 6:30 a.m. So we're going to do our news and our kata. So we do coffee, news, and do some coding challenges. We're going to continue with the Git branching like we've been doing on Fridays. But that is about all. Oh, don't forget the bug bite tomorrow at noon, and I will see you again tomorrow, and then Sunday going through Terraform, all that good stuff. So thank you for tuning in. But I have one more thing to ask you before we go. You know what it is?
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
I am always entertained, and I love doing this. But until next time.
You might think that getting into the IT field is impossible without a computer science degree, but Tech Coach Ralph is here to prove you wrong. Get ready for some jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into this lucrative industry. Listen up, tech enthusiasts! Are you ready to break through into the IT field, but feel like you need a computer science degree to make it happen? Think again! Tech Coach Ralph has some exclusive, mind-blowing secrets to share with you. Get ready to be blown away by his jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into the tech industry without a computer science degree. So get your notepad ready, because Tech Coach Ralph is going to change your life forever. Buckle up, because you're about to embark on a journey to success in the IT field.